Okay guys, somehow the meeting was closed and definitely it was not from me because I was not even on that window. Am I audible first of all to the people of the web? Yeah. Okay, wonderful. So let us go ahead and discuss whatever we were trying to. Okay. So whenever you want to use any command, you will have certain requirement. Like what I have said, I want to know all the processes that are running on the system. All right. So first thing is get to know the command. Second thing is get to know how to use it. Third thing is filter out the results of that command so that it would meet your needs. Make sense? So for this, we'll be using something called as help. Very simple. This will tell out how to use it. And this I will be using something called as get member. Okay. I'll come back to what it is. I'll be using get member. I'll be using pipe. Okay. I'll be using where here. If you don't have to filter out any results, third statement is not at all required. Ante. To learn complete PowerShell, you just need to know this. If you are good at this, you can do anything. All right. First thing, know the command. You can go with PowerShell like this, or you can go to the Google search. I'm okay with any approach. You basically want to list out the processes. You will basically find a query in or ask to Google saying that PowerShell query to know all the processes running on my system. Then you will get some stuff, whatever it is. Right. I'm not saying that get command is the only way, but get command is a way in which you can find it out in PowerShell itself. Right. And next is you use help, get help or hyphen hyphen help, whatever that makes sense to you. Third one is you want to know particulars about that, and then you would be basically filtering out the results in a way where how you want it. Simple. Rocket science. Is it rocket science? No. So now let us apply that whatever we have learned over here. One is, what is the first thing? Get command. And since I don't know whether the process will be in the beginning or not, okay, our commands will be in the format of what? Verb hyphen noun. Right? Verb is get. Okay, something like that. So star process star. What do I mean by this is get me the commands which has process in it. Simple. Now what do you think is the command which you should use? I want to know all the processes that are running on my system. So what is the sub which I need to use out of this? Get process. Yeah. So I'll be just saying get hyphen help get. He had given you all, but reading all of them at one time will make our life difficult. All right. So what can I do now? Get help get process. Okay. If you are interested only in examples, you can give examples also, but let us not do that. Let us just say pipe more. Okay. So get the processes that are running on your local computer or a remote computer. Remote, let us leave it for some time because you have to learn about PowerShell remoting, and that comes in when we bring in some more concepts. Right. As of now, I'm interested in my local system. Then he's telling get process, and these are all the syntaxes which you have. Now let us see what can I use. Okay, I want to go with examples, so I would say hyphen difficult. So pipe more. Get process will list you all the commands. That's it. That's the first one is enough for us, right? Avuna? What was my question? I want to know all the processes that are running on my system, and it is being said that get process will help you to find it out. Right? Good. Now let us see. Get these are all the processes that are running on my system. Was it a really difficult stuff? Was it a difficult stuff? No. That's it. Okay. So now the next question is, I want to know all the processes, in my system which are being created by Chrome browser. Now my question is something different now. First question was, I want to know all. Wonderful. Next thing what I said is, I want to get all the processes that are running on the system which are created by Chrome, or which are Chrome actually. So now first thing is, out of this, how will you do it manually? So, get process, and in this you will search wherever what will you search? Process name is Chrome. Antena? Is that the stuff? Okay. Now whenever you want to do this, you have to basically first get the results and then filter out the results, and then filter out the results. One way is get process will give you some help. I don't want to go with that route. I want to go with a route where it is very much simple for you to apply it onto any stuff. So can I tell this, get me all the process, and then from the results whatever you got, I am interested, or I want to filter out the results where process name is Chrome. Is that the logical statement? అన్ని రిజల్ట్స్ ని తీసుకోండి, దాంట్లో ఏ రిజల్ట్స్ లో అయితే ప్రాసెస్ పేరు క్రోమ్ ఉందో అవే చూపించాలి. ఎస్. సో హియర్ one is getting, the other one is filtering. So whenever you want to combine multiple stuffs, we will be using something called as piping, where results of this will be passed to the next command which you are passing. Results of this will be passed to the next command which you are passing. But on which do I need to execute my query on? దేని మీద? So basically what happens is, here we need to identify an important understanding between something called as object and okay. In Linux shell, whenever you pipe, all the output is passed to the other command, right? For example, you might have written in Linux something like this. I'm not sure whether it is done in your Linux class or not, but you would write something like ps. Yes, this is very widely used. So what is that you are doing? You are getting some output from process, and then you are passing it to a command called as grep. And whatever output which you are passing is, you are passing string, you are passing text, you are passing text. But in PowerShell you don't pass text, you pass object. You pass object, which means it is more powerful, right? Text is, you have to do text searching patterns itself. Whenever you get something, you have to search in the text, but here you are passing an object, right? And every object will have members here, right? So whenever I would say get member, get member, okay, so it's okay, man, sorry, I'm using Linux terminology here. Get help, get member. Okay, it is difficult for us to make it out like this. So what is our convention? It is easy for us to start with samples. So get help, get member hyphen examples. Since it will be more, I'm doing this. So if you see, get service is getting many things, and then is passing that to what? Get member. And here for every record which you are seeing, there are multiple members, and you can query on anything, So in our case, what is that we should do? What is that we are interested in, services or processes? So can I do this? Get get process colon get. So we have a lot of members. We have a lot of members. So out of this, we are not interested in all the other stuff. We are interested in something which is called as name. So our stuff is very easy. But how will I filter the results? How will I filter the results? So let me see if I have something. Get command, okay, where what is it? There is a command which is called as where object, and I want to know its usages. So how would I query it? Get help. We have used this command a lot of times today itself. Get help where object hyphen examples. What is it? Simple. All right. So by looking at first example, will it help us? No, not at all. Let us see. Get process. I am passing all of the result, but I am not passing text. What is it I am passing? I am passing objects. I am passing objects. So when I pass objects, there is no need for me to write grep. If it is a string, I'll do a grep. If the result of that is a string, I'll do a grep. If it is not, I can still use object and its members. So I'm trying to tell that where I'm interested in objects, where for any object dollar underscore tells us every object. It is every object. For loop, we will write that item, right, for each. And I'm interested in name, where name equals what? Simple. Sorry. So what is it I got now? I got the result. రాసేసుకోకండి. ఈ రాసుకోవడం వల్ల కానీ పైసా ఉపయోగం లేదు. Understand this. See, what is it I'm trying to do? I'm trying to get the process, and out of that process, I have found out what are the members, and I can query on any members. Right? So let us see. I want to do a query on CPUs. I want to do a query on CPUs. So get process, and I want to know what is a member. What is a member for CPU? Get member. Did I got everything? Let me search for 1 minute. At this window will let us do one thing. Anyway, we have this, right? Get process, get member, pipe more. Okay. Oh. Fine. దీన్ని చిన్నది చేసుకుంటే బెటర్ ఏమో. Yes. Sorry, but this resolution is, you will not have these problems whenever you are running on your system, because for me I have to basically look at both the stuffs. Just see. Do you have many stuffs? Yes or no? Okay. So CPU, right? So let us see if I can do this. Get process colon. Okay. I know that where object, and how do I write it? Dollar underscore dot CPU greater than 0. I might be wrong in this syntax completely, but what I'm trying to look at is I am interested in process which are taking more CPU. I have now written as 0 because that means everything, right? What is it saying? There is nothing like that. Okay, good. But let us do this. Get process. Let me do this. What are the values of CPUs which you are seeing over here? Do we have something? Yes, but it is not working out. Why? Because there is a type. There is some strong type checking principles in PowerShell. You cannot write anything. You cannot write anything because greater than symbol can be used for numeric data. Can be used for numeric data. But what was the type? What was the type over here? System.object.cpu, right? And he was trying to tell that you have to use this. So everything greater than, less than, it doesn't work out in that way. So now let us try for something else. Are you getting the whole point? It is not, it gives us more strength, but initially it confuses us. Get process hyphen get member, and I want to see it in a line by line order, so I'm giving more. Okay, let me come down. Get hash code. It is a no, that is, those are all methods. Leave it. So if you see in exit code, what is it? What is the property over here? It returns an integer. So there you can use greater than. Okay, let me come down. Paged memory size. Okay, it is a type which strongly defines what is that you can do. You have to go by the types. Then only you can use operators. Then only you can use operators. So can I write this? Now get process colon where object, okay, dollar underscore dot session ID. It will help you also. You have to just type something and basically give greater than 10. Let us see if something happens like this. Nothing is happening. Where session ID? No, it's fine. Dollar that, what is that we will use? Page in memory size? Nothing. What do you think is happening? There is no object like this. Am I getting those values? No, right? So basically the whole point over here, how do you do the things in PowerShell is you have to go by types. Very strict type checking stuff, which is not there in Bash. If you would have to write the same query in Bash, you would have written ps get process pipe grep, and you would have written a regular expression. Here the things don't work out that way. Here the things will have objects, and every object will have member, and every member will have type, because underneath PowerShell everything is C sharp. Underneath PowerShell everything is C sharp. But to make the life simple and look much like administration, Microsoft has taken some steps. So what are those steps are? It has tried to make the life easier by just saying, what is that you are trying to see over here? Alias. And these alias syntaxes match your PowerShell syntaxes. Let me see an alias called as PS. So what is PS doing over here? So in PowerShell also PS will work, but the point is it would work with get process, because there is nothing called as simple stuff over here. Everything is a command, right? And command will always have a syntax of verb to noun. So basically whenever you are writing, you will see much like the stuff in Linux, but actually it is not Linux. It is not like bash scripting where you can see PS, you can see ls. Okay, so you will also see ls. What is ls over here? So if you are tuned to some bash kind of a scripting, Microsoft has done some stuff. But if you want to create your own syntaxes which are much like Linux syntaxes, you can still do it. How to create a file in Linux? What will you do? Touch. But you will not have touch here. But if you want that, you can create it. How? You will create an alias. So can I do this? Get command. How will I find all the commands with aliases? Star hyphen. So what is that I have? Get new alias. And I want to know how do I create a new alias. So what can I do? Tell me the syntax. We have done this. Get help, right? New alias hyphen examples. And there will be many examples. So I'm using a pipe and I'm calling it as more. Sorry, saying get new alias. What is the name of the alias which you want to put? Okay, what is the value of it? And you want to put any description. So shall I put alias for touch now? Right? So can I say new alias? And what is the name of the alias which I want to put? Touch. And what is the value of it? Okay. Now let me go into some directory. Cd dot cd dot cd temp. Okay. I'll write touch, or let me write get alias. What is touch pointed to? Just now we have done it, right? So I'll be saying touch. Okay. First alias dot txt. Okay. Then it is trying to tell what is the type. We don't know the type. We have not set it correctly. So I'd say file. Okay. We have to reduce that. We have to basically correct it. So we have not done our stuff correctly. So what is that I would do now? I have to remove that alias. So get command. What is the command which I'm interested in now? Star hyphen. Oh, sorry. Star hyphen alias. But this time, what is that I want to do? Is there anything called as remove alias? No. No. Okay. So let us see what is that I can do. What is the method which we are pointing out to new item? So can I do this? I want to see how the new item is used. Can I do this? Get help new item hyphen examples. Oh, sorry. Colon more. So name, and you have to give item type as file. Okay. We have not given that. We have not given that. If you give that, it is exactly equal to touch will create a file. All right. So let me do this. How do I set an alias? Again, I want to go back to some examples. Get command new alias, not get command. Get help new alias hyphen examples. So it says, okay, this is what you are doing. Value is get WMA object, but that will not help us. Okay, because we have to set additional members also. Let me see if the second example is there over here. Okay, so now, well, first one is just list elements. He has done that, and the second element, second example, not making much sense. But we don't have an example now which will set an value of an object. So how can I solve this? What is it you think I can do? I have not found the example what I want to set, right? But let me do this. New item. Okay, get alias. There are many aliases, and I'm interested in an alias what, which is ni. What is an ni over here, right? And similarly, to create a new directory, what is that we would be using? md. If you see, md is being pointed out to make dir. So everything is there is some reasoning around it. So now let me do this. Get alias ni. So it says ni new item. What are the other commands which I have for alias? Get command star hyphen li. Unnecessary use of tab. Can any of these aliases help me out in understanding what is that they have done? No. Let us see how the export alias is used. Yes. So I want to know how the export alias is used. Can you tell me how to do that? Get hyphen help. What is the command which you want to use? Export hyphen alias. And I want to know. Okay. So what will I do? There are many things which are over here. So export alias, and then path he is giving it as aliases dot csv. Okay, that's fine. So basically what he's trying to do, he's trying to export all the aliases into certain things as some script. So shall we try to do the same thing? Yes. So I'll be blindly copying whatever is over here. Okay. And if I do alias, what is the file name which I have given over here? alias.ps1. Am I seeing something over here? Okay, good. Now I have to open this directory. So I can use start dot and open this in whatever editor which you are interested in, but I'll be opening that in Visual Studio Code. Okay. So what is that we are interested in? Okay. New item. Okay. So if I use ni test.txt or testing.txt, is it doing the same thing? We have not done it wrong. The whole point which I wanted to prove is whenever you have any doubts or confusions on aliases, what you can do is you can export, and this will give you all the scripts of how the aliases were actually made. All the script. This is all in your operating system. Okay. The last one is what we have done. Touch. And if you see, curl also will work. Curl is the Linux command. But what is it pointed out to? Invoke. So to make your prompt sound much like what it is, you can easily do it. Right? Now let me do this. Touch hyphen file. Okay. Testing one.txt. What it says? This is not the way to be used. Now can I see if let me see this? Touch hyphen type file. Okay. Testing one.txt. This is how you have to use in Windows, because you have to set that member. You have to set that member saying that type. Otherwise, it will ask for you, because that is a, what is it? It is a mandatory property. It is a mandatory property. And whenever you are setting aliases, there are many command will have some mandatory and some optional parameters. Optional parameters is absolutely fine, but if it is mandatory parameters, yeah, you can go to something which looks like this. Make sense? Right? Now I want to create a directory. I want to create a directory. So let me see. Can touch help me? Are you seeing a directory created called as temp? That's it. Very easy to find it, right? If you don't think that the examples which you are seeing over here are not really helping you out, so what you can do is get help, right? And now new item hyphen, this will take you to the latest PowerShell documentation. Simple. This will give you complete stuff. It will tell you what are the examples, right? What are all the required parameters in this, what are all the optional parameters in this, what are the different inputs which you can pass, what are the outputs. You would get everything. Okay, fine, making sense, right? Now let us come back to our first point where we started our class with. Is it making sense now? Whenever I ask you to do any task, what is the first thing which you have to find out? For achieving the task, what is that I should be executing? And next is, if I find how, what is that I have to execute, how is that I have to execute? And the third thing is, do I have to filter some results? And whenever you are filtering some results, where object comes into play? Where object comes into play? Make sense? Right? So I want you to write this or find a solution for this. I want to know all the processes in my system which are consuming memory, consuming RAM more than 50 MB. This is my question. What is the question now? Make a note of it. Either రాయండి. I find out all the processes in the system which are consuming more than 50 MB of memory. మీరు గూగుల్లో నెతికేసి దొరికేసుకున్నా నాకు పర్లేదు, I don't have a problem, but understand what you have found. I don't mind even if you Google the same statement and then you get a solution, but I want you to understand what is that result of that query. He would use something like this: get process, pipe, where object, and I want you to understand that query. What is that he has written after that where object? Or he might use PS where grep, PS pipe more object, or where object, whatever it is. So I don't mind even if you Google it, but I want you to understand how they have written the query, because the way of what you are writing or the queries over there will help you in understanding or express or basically writing down PowerShell scripts. Okay, so what is the one key difference in Linux and PowerShell also? When I say Linux, let me write this, let me not in shell and PowerShell we use pipe. Pipe is to pass the output of one command into another command. Simple. But there is one key difference. In shell scripting, okay? In shell scripting, when you want to pass the output of one command into another, output is send to other command as text or PowerShell. Output is send to other command as object, or if the command is multiple objects, then this. So even on the other side, you can use dot and use the conventions. If you remember, that's the first thing when we have written get process pipe, and then we have sent where object dollar underscore dot name is equal to Chrome. This you can never write in Linux, because to the Linux there is nothing called as object, everything is a string. So whenever you are piping, you have to filter out the results by string searching. అందుకే రెగ్యులర్ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్స్ రాస్తాం అక్కడ. ఇక్కడ రెగ్యులర్ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్స్ అవసరం లేదు, రెగ్యులర్ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్లో అవసరం లేదు, రైట్? Very important step. This is a key difference, right? This brings in more flexibility, right? Let me see at the question which has popped up. Hyphen G is greater than, right? Yes. Okay, those are operators. You can simply make a query saying that operators in PowerShell, and then you will get a list of all of them: GE, LE, hyphen EQ, all of that. So that is fine. Good. Very important. If you understand this, this is very simple. Now I want to find out all the services in my system. I want to find out all the services in my system where the name has word called as print, where the name has word called as print. So let us see. Get service is a command. Okay, and if I do, I'll get the whole list. Okay, and let me see what are the things which I'd get. Name, and in this name I'm interested in writing something which has what? Print. Do I have anything called as print by the chance? Yeah, I have. Where is this spooler? Print లేదండి, ఇంకేమైనా తీసుకుందాం. Win. Shall we take something which consists of win? Yeah. So can I write this? Get service, and out of this I will get many things, and I want to know what are the different members which are present in this. So I can say get. So if you see, there are a hell lot of members in here. Yes. Okay. So get service, and I will get the whole lot of services, and I'm interested in what? Only services whose name contains, or whose name has something called as win in it. All right, so I can say where object, and every item, every service will be referred by this dot name. But here, if it was fixed name, I would have used minus eq. But the problem is here I'm not telling about a fixed name now. I'm speaking about, what is it I'm speaking about? Name consisting of something. So let me see if I have something called as like. Okay, I'm interested in win anywhere in this name of the service. Simple. And let me do this. Are you seeing any difference? So basically in the case sensitive, it is not case sensitive. If you want to make it case sensitive, you have to write as expression in a different stuff. Simple. Yes. Okay, let me see what are all the operators that are available which can help me out. So how will I search that? PowerShell. Let me go to Microsoft documentation itself. I can go with the other documentation, but I want to go with Microsoft documentation. So equality checks, these are the stuffs. Minus NQ, not equals, right? Any, not equals, equals, greater than, all of that, right? And then matching. For matching, see what is that we can write? Like, not like. And if you know the regular expression, or if you have learned regex correctly, then you can use minus hyphen match also. Match, not match, right? And then contains, not contains. And whenever you have list of items and you want to find out one item, you would have used in, not in, right? And if you want to know type, you will be using if it is of that type or if it is not of that type. These are all the operators which we have. Simple, right? Okay. This extensive list we don't have in your bash. In your bash, you have to build a very decent regular expression, because otherwise it is very tough for you to find out your line. Okay. So for example, let me show you how the bash scripting will look like. PS This is how it would look like. And then you have to say ps colon grep, right? Something like this. Grep star bash star. It is a useless query, I know that. But you would be writing something like this, because out of all of the text which you got, you have to write a regular expression which will match a line. Which will match a line. So the problem with this approach is, let us assume that your output was like this. Your output is like this. Let us assume this is a output. Okay. It says it contains bash scripting. This is the output of your command, whatever you're running. Okay. And somehow you have pressed the new line. There is a new line. And hello. And then you give two spaces and then say done. And whenever you're grepping on bash, you will not get this whole, you will be just getting this line, because grep matches lines. Grep matches lines. Even though the second line was something which was belonging to the first one, you will be getting only the top part. These are some of the problems with shell scripting, and here you don't have that. Here you will not have that. Okay, I've just given you a simple example. This you can relate it. For example, you write list of all the services and all of that. So if it is shell scripting, since you are already learning shell scripting, what I would do is I would do this man ps. This is not a Linux terminal, right? So if it is a Linux terminal, just do man and the command name which you want to run, and it would give you the complete example. Go through that. That's a way to do it in PowerShell. In here, you can do get help, get hyphen help, right? Make sense? Yes. Now, whatever we have done, what is that we are using? We are using commandlets. What are all of this? Commandlets, right? And now we have just looked at the commands for process, for service, for creation of new folders, and for creation of, okay. Now I want to move the complete directory from one stuff to other stuff, right? And in the case of, in the world of PowerShell, there is nothing called as file directory. There is something called as item. There is something called as item, and item will have types. So what I do is get help, okay, and then I would say get item hyphen online. It's okay. This is the older PowerShell version. So get item in PowerShell. Whenever you are basically trying to write the script, okay, you would have get item, and then the other thing which you were trying to do on the other stuff was new item, right? Okay, and then out of all of this, he would tell you different examples, item type, and find out what are the different item types which you can pass. You can find out many different types. So let me come down. So these are all the different kinds of item types which you can pass. Right? He's trying to tell that you can use aliases, right? You can use positions, you can use whatever is the default value. You can set many things, but here you have to be much more organized. That's the difference when it comes to shell scripting and PowerShell scripting. Otherwise, they are exactly the same. Purpose is exactly the same, right? Now, what we'll do is, I want to download a file from internet. I want to download a file from internet. So what will you do? There is no need for you to know any commands, nothing, right? First thing is, you can either make a Google query, or you can basically go with PowerShell itself. So what will you do? Any file which will speak about internet will have word called as web. If you know about PowerShell, I would be just saying get command star web star. So I got these three commands, two commandlets. Application anyway I cannot use. What is the first command which is saying, trying to tell? Invoke. Second command, So second one is not definitely not for us. And the third one is an application, so we are not going to use it anyway. So what is it we can use? Okay. So I don't know how to use it. So what will I do? Get, help, invoke, web request. And initially we would like to see samples. So what will I do? Hyphen examples. And there might be many examples, so I am using. Okay. So get the contents of the web page from the internet. So what is he trying to do? Invoke web request, and he is passing something called as a URI, and then he does that. And he gets all of the elements. He gets whatever is in there. He is getting the result of it. Right? Let us come now. Okay. So you would see hell lot of examples over here. You can do complete HTTP programming because you get an object. You are not getting text. Remember that. If it was a text, you have to do string-based searching. You have to do string-based searching. But here you don't get it. So let me do this. Get. What is the other thing which I have to do? Get, help. Okay. What was my command? Invoke, web request, and the other one always which will help you is on. Or if you are on an older PowerShell, your links might not work. Remember that. All right. So are you seeing these inputs? Go to this section. All right. So you can pipe the body of the web request into the complete web request and outputs. What is it you are getting as an output? HTML, web response, object. Okay. So and once you try to understand what is in here, you can do the complete HTML manipulation. అంత మనం చెయ్యం, చేయాల్సిన అవసరం కూడా రాదు. But the whole point is you can do many things. See what is he trying to do? He is trying to get the complete web page, and then he is parsing the web page, and then he is displaying something. This you cannot think of PowerShell. You have to go for Python if you want to achieve this in Linux. Right? Yes? Yeah? So I have to download a file. I'm not looking out for something. So other thing which you can do is download file using. Let us examine that command. I'm really not looking out for executing that command. You can also execute that, but let us see the syntax of it. Oh no, that is something which is still left. I want to go with invoke web request. Yeah, are you seeing this? Invoke web request URI he has given it, and whatever is the result of it, output into a file, and then right. So shall we execute this command? Yeah. So to execute this command, let me take something which has already been downloaded. I will take some history. History kada, downloads kada, downloads. Okay. So there is something called as openmrs.var over here. So I'll copy link address. Now what is the command which I have to do? Invoke web request. And now what is he trying to tell? You have to just give URI. So minus URI. You can use tabs, but in Windows, don't forget to write URIs in double quotes. Copy that. And you say hyphen out file. I'm going to call it as open mrs.var. See what happens. We can add more stuff to it also, but looking good. So there is no need for you to know all commands and remember everything. I'll never teach that approach. The only way how you remember that command is the more you do it. All right. But even if you know part of the command, you can still be able to work on PowerShell because we know get command method. Get command, just put your command, put 2 stars, right? So that we will say that any command which has the following stuff, right? So ls, are you seeing something called as openmrs.var? Yes. From today onwards, whenever you want to download a file in Windows, use this approach. That's the easiest way to remember. Alage gurtuntai, right? If you see me, I'm not remembering any of these steps, but I'll be able to work. If you ask me to write a PowerShell script to do anything, yeah, we can. First, list out the requirements. See what is that you have to do. Get command or Google. Understand your command. Filter out the results by using where object. By using where object. And in where object, anyway, we have lot of operators to work on. Lot of operators to work on. Simple. Good? Yes? Okay. Let me look at questions, and if you have any questions, you can ask me. Yeah, that will do. That will do. But I am trying to tell a generic approach which will work out for any command. For example, if you want to know get service, and in the get service name itself accepts a regular expression, but not every command is like that. The process which I'm trying to tell now or teach you right now will work for any PowerShell command. Any PowerShell command where regular expression is not supported also. Because even if that command is not supporting regular expression, where object is definitely supporting regular expression, because you have something like EQ, not equal, like, contains, right? Yeah. So me question lone meeku answer dorikaddi. Now if I have to do this, find me, list me all the services, right, whose name consists of win. What will my query be like? We know that there is an operator for contains, right? And we basically just say get service will give me the whole list of commands. But what is that I'm looking out for now? Where object, right? And we have many objects. So I'm interested in object, sorry, I'm interested in objects whose name, okay, contains. So for contains, I'll try to find out what is an operator, right? So we have just opened that. So let me go to that page. What was that? Yes. So in here for contains, what is it? Hyphen contains. Man. Can we automate tasks which we are running, which we were just running it will do automatically? That's the whole point of a script, right? Yeah. Where name hyphen contains. What is happening? Okay. Get service. No. Why is it not working? Ideally it should, right? Okay. Let us see. There is one catch over here. Get service. We have all of them. And what is that we are looking out for? Name. Right? I have done one mistake in that. I've done one mistake in that. Okay. I am writing my mistaken command again. So what is my mistaken command? This. Try to tell me what is that I have done it wrong. No guessing work. I want the actual work. So this is one more item which you have to find it out. Right? So $/name looks good because let me do this. I remove this and I write this. Oh, dollar hyphen dot okay, let me do this. Where hyphen object, sorry, dollar underscore dot status minus EQ stop. I'm getting certain things, right? So how come this query is working, the other two are not working? ఇది రిజల్ట్స్ ఇస్తుంది కదా. సో ఐడియల్లీ దట్ షుడ్ ఆల్సో గివ్ రిజల్ట్స్, but why is it not giving? Find it out why. Okay, so solving that will help you to identify how the contains actually works, right? Like will also work, like we have tried it earlier in the earlier case also. Try to find out what it is, what is that is mistake in this. I have written almost the same syntax, the only thing which I have changed is operator, right? Okay, good. I don't want to write service name equals like. Oh, this is foolishness, man. I'm getting this, right? Find out what was the other problem, why contains was not working. If this works, contains also should work, but in the earlier case it was not working. There is one mistake which I have done, and thus that mistake you will be finding out only when you read the documentation of get service, and you know all the members of get service. How to know members of get service? ఎలా తెలుస్తుంది? Get service colon pipette to get, these are all the members, right? Combine these two things and see, you would find out what is it I have done as a mistake. But are you seeing it? Is it more capable than piping it to a Linux stream? Yes. Linux lo manaku dot lo ee dorako. Linux lo you have to work on string. You should be very good at regular expression, you should be good at pattern matching. Here you don't need all of that, right? If your object is designed correctly, you can basically go with that object state itself, right? Good. Okay, so I've just shown you basic commands with respect to files, folders, right? And the PowerShell and service. The whole concept was around this, but there is one more important thing, which is networking, and networking commands also will be something like this. It will have something like get star something, right? All of that. But one important thing which will come into play is active directory objects. Active directory objects. What is active directory? That is a server where all of your usernames are stored. So I'll be creating a demo setup there, right? And then active directory PowerShell commands are basically, we will have client commands over here. There are server side commands also, creating new active directory user and all of that. So for that, I'm setting up probably some kind of a dummy domain systems, which is very much required for me over here and also in the Azure class. So with that, I will show you something called as PowerShell remoting, a equivalent service like SSH. What is that we do in SSH? We log in into the other Linux machine and execute Linux commands, right? So in the Windows also you can do that. So for example, if you do this get service and you do win, okay, let me write this, get service colon, the one which was trying, which was being told to me is, you can write something like win star. This is also works because the service supports taking the names and regular expression. Are you seeing a service called as WinRM? Yeah. So this is Windows remote management. Once I enable this, I can log in from other machine into this machine and then execute shell commands, PowerShell commands. So that is the other important area. And by the way, PowerShell DSC uses that. PowerShell DSC uses that, right? And we will be understanding about that WinRM. How does it work, right? And but for that, I need some setup. It is not that I can do it on. You can do it on a local machine, but the problem is it is most insecure way. So let me find out a setup which is matching your enterprise needs, and it takes some time for me to set up. So I might be showing you this setup with along with PowerShell DSC, because there we need to speak about multiple servers, push and pull kind of configuration management and all of that, right? The remoting ఒకటి మాత్రం అప్పుడు చేద్దాం. Because it is not possible for me to show on these kind of environments, right? But in Windows 7 this is possible. In Windows 10, Windows 8, WinRM is more secured, right? it will not be configured by default. You have to configure it, right? So there are some steps which are required for configuration in the newer version of Windows, because this is like opening SSH port for everyone, which is dangerous, right? See, even though we do it in our Amazon machine, that is because our machines do not add any value. But in the enterprise, your servers might be hacked if you have this. So yeah, if you have the username and password, done, right? So that's why in the enterprise world also we'll not open SSH for everyone. We'll open SSH only for our company or only for particular machines where you have to log in and all of that stuff. Fine. So any other questions on this? Whatever we have discussed throughout today. So what are the three important steps? It, by the way, remember, three important steps are there for shell scripting also. In Linux, in the PowerShell world, I'm using get command. There you will be using a different command line options. And what was my second stuff? Basically, I used to find out what is the help of it. For help in Linux, you use man, which is a manual page, right? And then you need to filter out results. For filtering out is results in Linux, you will be using pipe, and then you will be using grep a lot. Here there is no need for you to really go with grep, even though grep is supported. But basically we will go with objects and its values because it is much simpler, right? Okay. Can we use Azure AD for Active Directory examples? No, I don't want to use it in that way, because Azure Active Directory is not actually whatever Active Directory which you have in your office. Azure Active Directory is identity as a service. It is not for systems, not only for systems, it is an identity for your applications also. So Active Directory on Azure is not exactly equivalent to Active Directory in your office. So I cannot make that assumption. Yes. What is the difference between name and service name? Find out from documentation. Even for me to answer that question, I will be doing what is something called as get member. So how do I get member? Get service pipe get member. And then if you look at that command, you will be able to identify that name is an alias type for service name property. Let me show you this. Get service pipe get member. And let me go to the property called as name. What is the name over here? So I want you to do this. All right. Yes. Okay, then we have to use star, whatever it is. I don't know the resolution of it. I want you to find it out. Okay. And basically do it. So today, what is it I want you to do is, from today onwards, whenever you are downloading files, you are using PowerShell in Windows. And from today onwards, whenever you want to create folders and files, you are using new item. ఓకే, కొన్ని టాస్కులు చేయకుండా ఏమీ చేయకుండా ఇంటర్వ్యూ ముందు రోజు ఇంపార్టెంట్ క్వశ్చన్లు చూసుకుని వెళ్తే పని అవదు, రైట్? అండ్ బై ద వే, డౌన్లోడింగ్ is not very difficult stuff, right? Invoke web request and then you have to tell the URI and then the output file. So what is the problem with executing that? Copy the path. అలాగే గుర్తుంటాయండి, లేదని గుర్తుండవు. మీరు ఇవన్నీ చేయకుండా వారం తర్వాత PowerShell అన్ని గుర్తెట్టుకోవాలి, రైట్? డోంట్ డూ దట్, రైట్? ఫైన్. సో switch to PowerShell whenever you are working on Windows, and switch to shell completely whenever you are working on a Linux machine or a Mac machine, right? Then only you will know the scripting commands. Otherwise there is no way on earth you will remember all of this. Okay, then comes the interview questions. If interview lo కష్టమైన క్వశ్చన్ వచ్చినా మీకు చూస్తే ఆన్సర్ చూస్తే you can visualize, you can basically answer. For example, if someone asks, okay, can you write me a PowerShell command, okay, to find out all the files in a directory which has the following naming format, right? So what is the directory item? In the directory, whatever we have is called as child item. So you will be writing something like get child item, right? And then you will be doing where object, and then you will be doing pattern matching. It could be like or contains, basically whatever it is, that's it. So this is analysis, right? If you know the basic strong, the other commands you will learn it. It is very simple. Follow this approach, right? We have spoken about two approaches till now in this class. One is how to write a script, right? The second one is how to basically write one command in a script. Today's my focus was how to write one command in a script, not the complete script, right? Complete script is something which we have discussed yesterday, where we have taken some project Euler's problems and we have written down in whatever language which we understand, okay, and then we have converted it into PowerShell, as well as what was the other language which we have used? Python. So whatever we have learned in our 2 days will be helpful only for PowerShell and Python, right? Antega? Any language పని అవుతుందా? Yes, this can be applied for learning any command lines, not only for PowerShell, not only for shell, for also for any command. If you want to know VMware command lines, Chef command lines, Ansible command lines, same approach, right? Yeah, follow this. This will make your life easier. There is no need for you to remember a lot. Fine. Okay then. So tomorrow we'll have our continuation class, and tomorrow's class will consist some more details of PowerShell, and we'll be introducing the setup stuffs and all of that. From Tuesday we'll be starting on the basic setup. I'll get it ready, and then we'll be discussing some Active Directory related examples and remoting related examples from that, because there is some sort of configuration. One configuration which I already have, but I'm trying to find out a configuration which you should also be able to create. So that could be Amazon AMIs, or that could be an Azure Resource Manager script. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm just trying out on both the approaches. And నేను చేసిన సెటప్ ఉంది కదా, ఆ సెటప్ మీకు ఇవ్వడానికి I want to give some PowerShell or shell files where you execute this and you get that setup. So let us see how can I do that. If it is not possible, at least I will share images, machine images, so that you can use the same image in your AWS or an Azure account. Fine. Yeah. Thanks guys, thanks for your time. Let us meet in 15 minutes for Azure. Right, thanks.